Hare Krishna. Okay. Everybody has to be on mute. Okay. So what we discussed in the last session as a summary of the session is that ultimately what we should be doing. So we understood that there are different kind of actions, different karmas, pious activities or sinful activities. So we understand sinful activities should not be done. But yes, pious activities are good then. But we understood from Bhagavad Gita, I quoted the verse 4.17. If you miss that, then please refer to that verse. So Krishna says that karmana jnano gati, it is very complex, the law of karma. So even the pious activities, the punya karma also cause the bondage for the one, right? Then we understood there is another concept that Krishna introduced in Bhagavad Gita, and that is the akarma. So akarma, which sounds like as if there's no karma, but actually akarma means any action which does not cause the bondage or which does not create any reaction. That is called the akarma. And then we elaborated on that. And what is this akarma? So in simple words, or the essence or the crux of the whole of this discussion is that somehow or other we have to learn the art of doing the akarma. So how to do that akarma? That any action which should not create any reaction. So then I was giving the example, if you remember that, if sometimes some facilities are given to us by someone, like say you are working in a company and some computer laptops and so many other facilities are given to you. So you can use them as much as you want for the owner. And owner will actually encourage you and appreciate you and reward you for using those facilities for the sake of owner. But if you start to use those facilities for your personal agenda, then probably will be fired from the job. So that is what exactly the concept of akarma is. So the Supreme Lord, who has blessed us with so many things, first of all, this very body, intelligence, and then so many other facilities, amenities, opportunities. So we should utilize everything as much as you want, you can utilize, but that should be for the cause of the Supreme Lord. So when Krishna has created this world, so he has given us some facilities in this world, and he has given us intelligence and so many other skill sets and all that. So it should be for the cause of, we should understand what is the purpose of the owner. And when you understand the purpose of the owner and start to work for the owner, then owner will empower you more and more and without further any reaction. So that is what exactly the concept of karma is, that we do every action, but keeping Krishna, who's the creator, who's the supreme father, who's the owner of everything, Bhoktaram Yagadabjam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna says in 5.29 in Bhagavad Gita, that I am the owner, I am the master of everything. So when we use all our abilities, everything what we have in our life for serving Krishna, right? And then that kind of action, that kind of activity does not result in any further bondage. So that is the concept of akarma. So how to practice that? So then we concluded with this ABCD that I'm hoping that you all remember. So to practice this akarma and all of that philosophy of Bhagavad Gita that we keep hearing and learning. So how to practice that is through this ABCD. A is association of the like-minded people. That is called the Satsanga, the Sadhu Sangha. And then B is the books for transcendental knowledge. So I can't talk, I'm on a call. So B is the books of transcendental knowledge, and C is chanting the mantra meditation, and D is the diet and also the deity worship. So if we somehow or other can learn and figure out that how to take care of this A, B, C, D, then your life is all set. You are on the right path. You are fixed in the right direction. So we elaborated on ABCD also. So I'm not again going to enter the same thing. So let me pause here, and I'm open for all kinds of questions now. It can be related to the 6 sessions which we discussed already, or in general, if somebody has any spiritual inquiry, feel free to ask. So what we'll do is maybe, you can just raise your hands, not like physical hand, but you can do online also, and start asking your questions. I have few questions already in that sheet, but I would take the live questions first, and then We can take up those questions from the sheet. Okay.
Can I ask?
Yes, Nalini Mataji, yes. Go ahead and ask your question.
So the practicing akarma, right? I think we are doing very less of ABCD and more of like the material life and the responsibility towards husband or kids or like this social life. So are we creating ultimately bondage out of this? And if you want to go more towards the karma, then who is going to take care of the responsibilities?
Yes, that's a wonderful question and very apt question. So if we understand, okay, we have to do the akarma, then what about my worldly duties, my responsibilities, and so on? And that's your question, right? To
Yes.
just frame. Okay. So akarma doesn't say that you don't be a mother. It doesn't say that you don't be a wife or a working professional. No, it doesn't say. Say just be a mother, but be a spiritual mother. Be a wife, be a spiritual wife. Be a working professional, be a spiritual person. That's the whole idea. So it's not about changing your occupation, changing your externals, but it's all about changing your internal consciousness. So you can still continue to do the same thing as a wife, as a mother, or so many other responsibilities like that. But how, while doing all of those things, how you can keep Krishna in the center. So that is what exactly Krishna recommended in Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna was saying that, I don't want to fight, I want to go to the forest, and why to get involved in fighting. But as being a Kshatriya's duty was to fight. He was asking to give up his duties. And that is what exactly your question is, that how can I give up the duty? So Krishna did not encourage that leaving the duties. But Krishna said, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmar yuddhacha mai arpit mano buddhir. So this is the art. He says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, in all circumstances, in all situations, mam anusmara yuddhacha. You remember me, and while doing your fighting, continue to remember me. So he's not saying, no, for some time you just give up the fighting, sit idly, and then take one mala, take Bhagavad Gita, chant my name, and then later you are done with your mala, then you do your duties. Not like that. So that is an art that while doing your responsibilities and so many other things, you can still be a spiritual person. So how to do that, right? So that is why this practice is that ABCD that helps us to create that consciousness, like morning or whenever it works for you. You just chant few rounds, 1 round, 2 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. You develop that consciousness. You read Bhagavad Gita every day. One thought for the day in your consciousness. You chant. You associate with the devotees like that. So you learn more and more. And then you eat the sanctified and purified food. So your consciousness doesn't get contaminated. So when you are equipped with all of this, the association, the thought, the right consciousness, and all of that, and when you go in the world, you don't get carried away by this worldly consciousness. So Padma Patram Ibham Vasha. You can be like the drop of a water on the lotus leaf. So you see, the drop is there, right, but it does not touch actually. It is untouched by the lotus leaf. That is an art. So as I said, if you remember, you be in this world, but not of this world. So that we learn. So that learning happens in the, those who are already practicing it. So sometimes you might find it very overwhelming, how to do, how to balance and all of that. Yes. So that is when we come in the association and you see this, a lot of people are already practicing the same thing, and you get inspiration, you can get more guidance on that. Okay, this is how it should be done. So like that. These are a few thoughts on this.
The thing is that I am trying to remember him, but then working, I feel like should I my mind should think the present task that I'm doing or about the God.
Yes, that's also a very good question. Actually, while you're doing, you need focus on your work, attention on your work, and how you can really think of Krishna while doing your work. Yeah, that's a very good question. So yes, some of the work you can do while thinking of Krishna, like say for example, while you are cooking. So while you are cooking, you can easily, you know, to put the focus and concentration. Little bit focus needed, but you are all, Mataji are expert in, cooking and all that. They can close their eyes and still they can cook, right? So it doesn't need that much of attention and focus. So while you're cooking, whatever, something in your kitchen, you can still keep singing Krishna, Hare Krishna, like that. Some shloka recitation possible. But some of the work, they demand like full concentration. Then how to remember Krishna that time? right? So the two kind of thing, direct remembrance of Krishna, or another thing is when you are not able to directly remember, put your mind into work, but then you offer the result of that work in the service of Krishna. So then that work itself, that work becomes a karma. Like say, for example, sometime as being a devotee, like in the temple as a brahmachari and in this ashram, sometime we have to do some kind of seva where you need super focus. So that time you may not be saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, but I'm just say, for example, I'm creating some PPT or I'm doing some other work, for example. But the point is, I'm not able to chant Krishna Krishna while doing the work, but that work goes in the service of Krishna. The result of that work is for Krishna. So then what happens? That entire work becomes Krishna conscious work. That becomes a karma. So like when you are in your office, you're working your professional duties and all of that. That time probably you are not able to chant Krishna's name or remember anything about Krishna. Do your work honestly, sincerely, and then when you get the results of that work, offer some portion of that work in the service of Krishna. So that is an art of transforming the work, which looks like a work of this, material world, but it can turn into the karma or Krishna conscious work. That is how we can do. So offer the result in the service of Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. So let me take one more question here.
Prabhuji, my picture doesn't work, but can I just say here that Mataji just asked, same thing I had thoughts that how could you, karma is I think out of the entire, for me, out of all these lessons, akarma was the best because we are here for that only on this universe, so-called in this human birth, to just get out of everything and go home. So like I was thinking, my thoughts, that in the morning I can say to Krishna that, okay, everything I do is good for you, for doing my children's stuff or my, work stuff or presentation, whatever, it's all for you. One thing in the morning, and then try to remember, I was thinking that when I'm driving the car, I say, okay, I'm driving to this place, be with me or whatever. Or when I'm starting a presentation, I say, this is for you. I'm just doing it for my family, but it is for you. In the service of you. Or anything and everything, every task, small task or big task we perform, kind of try to remember. Is that what you kind of getting at by doing A, B, C, D and be in the world, but not of the world? Something like that, Prabhuji?
Yes, that's correct. So basically what happens, we have to develop consciousness. So this consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So when we read the books like Bhagavad Gita in the ABCD, right? You chant Krishna's name, you associate with the devotees like what we do here. And then when you read the books, so then what happens? It gives you the right knowledge, it gives you the right consciousness. Then you understand that ultimately Krishna is the Supreme Father and we all belong. See, here what we are doing is, this is our functional identity. Somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody, someone like that. But ultimately, we should understand that we all belong to Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Even somebody is my husband, somebody is my wife, that is still connected to Krishna. So we are as a big family. Krishna is the Supreme Father. So now here in the family, what happens? Different people had to take the different roles, right? Father means he will go out and he will make money and he will take care of the family. Mother means she will cook and she will feed everyone. So like that, we understand that we all belong to the same father, same family, which Krishna is the Supreme Father. And then we are all here playing the different roles. Somebody is like a husband, somebody is like a wife and all that. So let me play my role, but I understand that we all belong to, and Krishna has assigned me this role. Like, in a family, my father is there and their 4 kids are there. So he'll say, hey, my first son, come here and please take care of this thing, some task. Second son, come here, take care of this, another task. Third son, come here and take care of another task, like that. And then they're all doing very sincerely. Father is happy. So the Krishna is the Supreme Father. Is say, okay, you come here, so you be like a wife. Okay, you come here, you be like a husband. You come here, you be like a working professional. But ultimately, we should always remember, develop that consciousness that we are doing everything for Krishna. So that consciousness comes with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So that is the process of yoga, right? So we are in connection. Connection means you are constantly in consciousness of Krishna in whatever you do. Okay, so hope that clarifies. I'll take another question now. So there is a question here. Hello, Prabhuji, I have a question regarding karmic relationship. what is actually mean by it? How can someone identify if you are in karmic cycle? How to break the cycle so it will not be in same realm in this world, in this world or in next world? Okay, so I'm not sure if I understood the question completely, but I'll try to answer, and then yeah, you can correct me if I have not understood your question. So yes, how do we understand that we are in the karmic cycle? Yes, so that understanding is very simple, that so far we are in this material world. Actually, originally we do not belong to this material world, this sansarik jagat. We all originally belong to the spiritual world. We belong to Krishna. But why we are here in this material world, that itself is the actually, what do you say? You can understand indication that we are in the cycle. We are in the repeated birth and death. As we understood, right? As being the soul, you are eternal being. We are not entitled for that repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. If you remember, I talk about that. No, soul is free from all that. So far, we are stuck in this body like a jail. It means we are already in that cycle. How to become free, how to break the cycle, that is what we are discussing here. Exactly by doing the akarma, we can become completely free from this cycle. So that's the art that we make. So as Krishna says, 18.66, Krishna said, that is my supreme instruction. Listen, Arjuna, very carefully. So what is that supreme instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? After speaking almost close to 700 verses toward the end, he says, Sarv dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshashyami masucha. So Krishna says, Sarv dharman parityaja. Just give up all varieties of your opinion, your ideas, your concepts, all dharmas that you have created, mano dharma, like mentally, oh, I want to do this, I want to do. Say, mam ekam sharanam raja, surrender to me. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshashyami. I'll deliver you from all your sinful reactions, all your path. Matsucha, do not worry. So that is Krishna's assurance. And Krishna said, this is what is my final and the supreme instruction. That's the whole purpose of speaking this whole treatise Bhagavad Gita. Right. So if we learn how to surrender to Krishna, then Krishna gives the assurance that I'll take you out from this cycle of repeated birth, death, and all this karmic reaction and all of that. Okay, so hope Puja Bhatt Mataji, this answers the question, your question. Yeah, next question. Who wants to go next? I see a lot of people here. Okay, nobody has question, or people are hesitant to ask question, or
I have, if nobody asking, then I can ask.
yeah, you can ask Mataji, but yeah, I would encourage everyone to ask the question. Yeah, either you can type or you can ask, but yeah, Mataji, go ahead and ask.
How one can present, like take a darshan of the God who appears as it is, like what the word it says, Sagun Rupa, in the Sagun Rupa. How
So-
I can meet God Krishna in his Sagun Rupa, as a Krishna appearing physically next to me or my kids.
No, I didn't get your question. How do we see Krishna in the Sagun Rupa?
Yeah. Not like just thinking there is a God in the universe with a supreme power. but-
Yes. So Krishna's form has been explained. See, the Krishna is the Supreme Lord. As it is explained, Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, he is Satchidananda Swarup. Right? God is not some impersonal light or something, some energy like that. God is a person, but God is not a person like you and me. God is the Supreme Person. God is a transcendental personality, right? Who is beyond all this material laws and material cycle of this karmic reaction, birth, death, old age, and disease. God is not that kind of a person. He is a supremely powerful person, all knowing, Satchidanand. He is eternal. He is all knowing. He is all blissful. So that person, so the description about that personality, his form, his pastimes, his characteristics, his qualities, everything is given in the scriptures. So this, one scripture which is called the Brahma Samhita, which is originally compiled by the Brahmaji, who's the god of creation. So Brahmaji glorifies that Supreme Lord. So how he glorifies, he explains his rupa, his beauty, his form. Says, Venum Kanandama Ravinda Dalaya Daksham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarbhakotikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Damaham Bhajami. So like that, this is just one verse, but there's more to it. So basically, Brahmaji have seen the darshan of the Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna. And then he explained that what kind of form he is. So he says, Venum Konandam, he's holding the Venu. Venu means the flute. Parhavatamsam. So his hairs are decorated with the peacock feather. Asit Ambud Sundarangam. His angam is like the bodily limbs, very beautiful, Sundarangam. And what is the color? What is the hue? He is black or white? He is fair or dark? No. Asit Ambud Sundarangam, like the newly born cloud. That is why we call Krishna as Megh Sham or Shyamvan, like newly born cloud, little blackish, bluish black boy. So that is how the form is. And then as Asitambul Sundarang Kandar Bukoti Kamani Avishesha Shobham, like that, the description is given. So based on all those descriptions, when the deities are carved, like you see the deities of Krishna Balaram in the temple, it is not somebody's imagination. That somebody think, oh, okay, Krishna should look beautiful, so probably he should stand little three-folded band, like that. No, not like that. It is all description, authorized description, given in the scriptures by authorized great personalities like Brahmaji, and so many description in the Bhagavatam comes like that. So when we see the beautiful form of the Lord in the deity form in the temple, then we understand from the scriptures that it is not the representation of Krishna, but actually abhinnatvam. It is non-different from Krishna. Sakshat Krishna is standing there. But Krishna can only appear to our eyes in a way which our eyes can perceive. Krishna can come in his original form also, Sachidanand form, but would be able to see that form? That's the question. So Krishna says, okay, you can see all this form, like you can see the stone, the wood, the metal, some painting, and all of that. So I'll come in that form. And Krishna is omnipresent. He is omniscient. He is all powerful. So for him, getting into a deity form, which we carve, for him it's not a big thing. He can enter into that form. Krishna comes. So yes, we see the darshan of the Lord through all this, going to the temple. That is the concept of going to the temple, having the darshan of the Lord, sharing, expressing your heart, your prayers, and then Krishna is right there. He listens our prayers. Of course, Krishna is not limited to listening the prayers in front of the deity. He can listen from everywhere. Sitting at your home and you remember in the heart, your mind, Krishna will listen. So that is how we see that. So we don't concoct any form. We don't imagine any form in our mind. No, this is concoction, mental speculation. That is prohibited in the scriptures. We go as per the description of the scriptures. What the scriptures guides us, that is the way to understand and to perceive, to realize the God. We cannot create our own formula. Oh, I think I should think of the Lord like this. I should create some form like this. No, that is not the way. It has to be the authorized way of doing the things. Yeah, that's the answer.
I hear the stories that God Krishna still appear in Vrindavan physically and give darshan to some of the devotees. So what
Yes.
they have special different that we can practice and take darshan like that, where he talks with them like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's good to have those aspirations that Krishna can give us also darshan, but ultimately it is all Krishna's discretion whom he wants to give darshan. Yes, such stories are there, but the two things. It's not like that it is not possible that Krishna comes, it is possible. But also, then from where we hear the story, the authority of those stories are not yet verified. And people sometimes, for some ulterior reasons also, there's a possibility that people create such stories like that. So we should be very, very careful that, we don't get carried away by all these kind of descriptions. That is what I'm saying. It's very, very important that we go by the authorized way. Authorized way is the scriptures, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. If you remember, I told in the sessions, that is the right way. So you read from the Shastra, but from the Shastra also you can concoct your own idea, right? Then you go to a bona fide Guru, one who is authorized Guru. So we'll talk about that also. Somebody asked me that question earlier. So I'll explain that also. So go with a bona fide Guru. He'll say, okay, scriptures say like that. How to understand this? So Guru will guide you that this is what exactly the meaning is. And then Guru told you do this, do that. But still you might be confused. Oh, I don't know how to do. He told me to do like that. Then you go to the Sadhu. Sadhu means the practicing devotees. When you go in their association and you say how they are practicing, then you are on the right path. So let me tell you this very fact, and I think it's a very, very important item for all of us to understand. Those who are seriously interested in spiritual progress is people have this habit of mental concoctions, mental speculations. People think there is a philosophy, they called it yato mat tato pat. Like whatever your opinion, whatever your idea, that becomes your path. No, this is not the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. That is not the philosophy of scriptures. Scriptures give you the standard practices. You cannot do. So everywhere there is a standard practice. Like say if you want, you are a doctor and you want to operate someone. So then they don't say no philosophy yato mat tato pat. That whatever you like, you just cut open and then do something whatever and then close that and it will work in the same way. No, there is standard way of doing certain things. So when it comes to the spiritual life, right, then there has to be some standard practices. That standard practices come through the standard disciplic succession, and that is what is called the Guru Sishya Parampara. That is how this knowledge has to come down in the Guru Sishya Parampara. And Krishna talks about that Guru Sishya Parampara in 4.2 in Bhagavad Gita. You can refer that. Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarsho Vidu. This knowledge has to come down in a Guru Sishya, bona fide Guru Sishya Parampara. Chain of disciplic succession. That a Guru, like Krishna spoke to Arjuna, like that. So the Guru Sishya Parampara is given that originally this knowledge was spoken to Brahmaji. Brahmaji spoke to Narad Muni. Narad Muni spoke to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva spoke to Madhvacharya. So like that, this parampara is coming down. So this knowledge has to come in the parampara. Randomly, we cannot just concoct idea. Oh, can you teach me how to see God? Then the person will teach you something and he will just make money out of you. So we should be very, very careful that nothing should be concocted. We should take the knowledge from the bona fide scriptures, from the bona fide parampara, from the bona fide guru. Otherwise, in the modern age, this is the fashion. Even the so-called very, very famous guru, I don't want to mention any individual's name, but as a principle, I'm telling, so-called very famous, celebrated so-called sadhus, all mental concocted. Something, they're good expert in doing the world jugglery. You ask any question, they'll just intellectually talk something. This is bogus. That is the sign of the bogus guru. So they should quote, okay, this is from the scriptures. There are some famous gurus, unfortunately, they say, no, we don't read the scriptures. That itself is the first disqualification to become the guru. Guru means he should hear from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. That is the first item of being a guru. Somebody is claiming and thinking, I'm so smart, I'm so intelligent that I don't refer to the scriptures. He's a simply mental concoctor, mental speculator. He has no basis. He can impress the audience. That person can impress the audience with his word jugglery, with good vocabulary, good speaking skills. These are all material things. There's nothing spiritual about that. They can maintain some artificial aura around and all of that. But there's no heart transformation happens. Real heart, there's no spiritual advancement happens there. So one should be very, very careful. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. I'll take a few more questions. So Shyamna Rakesh, I posted in the sheet, Prabhuji. Okay, so I can open the sheet. So I don't know which is your question now. How do I know that which is your question in the sheet?
Okay, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually my question was in the in the evening class we used to read the Bhagavatam, right? So in that there was a story about Brahma. Then they were referring, right, we are actually the puppets. We are just the puppets in the hands of Krishna. So I was just getting confused. So if we are just considered as puppets, that we don't have any control over ourselves, then how is that karma being we are
Right.
we are
How you are responsible for any
karma? That was my question, Prabhuji.
Okay, got it. Yeah, very thoughtful question. So if scripture says we are just a puppet, then why we are held responsible for any karma? Because somebody is as a puppeteer is. Yes, that's true. So one thing we should understand that Krishna says that prakrate kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankar bimudatma kartaham iti mannate. 3.27 in Bhagavad Gita. So what Krishna is saying, ahankar bimudatma, one who thinks out of ahankar, out of false ego, that kartaham iti mannate. He thinks I am the karta, I am doing everything. See how intelligent I am. I'm so powerful. I did this. and I became successful with my hard work. And yes, people talk like this, right? But these people are anger, bimood, atma. Bimood means they are foolish out of ignorance. They're talking foolishly that he's the doer. He's not the doer. Actually, who is doing? Prakriti Kriyamanani. This material nature is doing. So actually, Krishna in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about 3 doers. We think I am the only doer, but Krishna says, no, you are not the only doer. There are 3 doers. So let me explain just quickly what are the 3 doers. One is we as a soul, you are the doer. Then Prakriti means this material nature has to facilitate you to act in this world. And ultimately is the Supreme Lord, Krishna. He has to sanction for those things to get successful. Right? So like that, there are 3 doers. But if somebody thinks, oh, I am the only doer, that is the foolishness. Okay, now, if everything happens by Krishna's sanction and Krishna's, control, then why we are held responsible? So we should remember that we are also one of the doer. You are not the sole doer, but you are one of the doer. What is you are doing? You are desiring. So then you will be held responsible for what you desire. So you desire, okay, let me go for drinking the alcohol this evening. That is your desire. Then nature will facilitate you in so many ways. Like you should have money, you should have a car, and so many other things. It's just a crude example I'm trying to give. And then all sorts of sanctions, okay, just go and drink. Some crude example. So you desired, and then based on your karma, Krishna sanctioned that desire. So you yourself cannot achieve that what you desire. Krishna's sanction is needed. You are just a puppeteer. If Krishna says no, then how much ever you desire, you cannot get the results. But you desire, and as I say, that man proposes, God disposes. So we propose. So for proposing something, you will be held responsible. If you propose something which is like sinful, eating non-veg, drinking alcohol, illicit relationship, intoxication, and anything like that, right? Meat eating, gambling, these are all sinful activities. So you desire something because you are influenced by some surroundings, your association, and then you desire, and Krishna says, okay, if you want to do this, what can be done? You should not do this, but still you are so eager, so insisting too much, okay, do this. So Krishna just facilitate through the material nature, right? Krishna is like a big person, so he need not to come and help you like, okay, you want this. No, he has one agency called material nature, Prakriti. Krishna says, okay, sanction, and nature will provide you, and then you will be able to achieve that. But who will be the responsible? Because ultimately everything triggers from your desire. So yes, we are actually responsible for what you desire. But at the same time, we remember that, okay, just because I desire, I can get, no. That in that sense, we say that we are puppeteers. Otherwise, I'll desire that, oh, I should become the king of the world, I should rule the whole world. That is my desire. Can I do that? Can everybody or anyone do that? Maybe some powerful people can do, but not everybody can do that. Lord has to sanction. So we are just puppeteers. Lord says, no, you cannot be like a king. You don't have enough karma like this. You don't have enough credits. So you cannot act like a king. You be just like a struggling person. So you have to do like that. But then how you want to struggle? And when their failure comes, what you do? Something happens, you are doing a business. You say, no, let me take a shortcut. Let me cheat the people. Who did that? You did that. You will be held responsible. So hope that clarifies your question, Mataji. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. got it.
Next question. If
Thank
soul is touchless and not affecting with anything like fire and water, sukha and dukkha, how soul is bound with karma? Because based on karma, you will take birth in certain family and stuff. Can you please enlighten on this, please? Yes, soul is not affected, not touched, untouched by all these material elements. And that all the fire, and we discussed about that. Nanam Shastra, Nanam Dayati Pavaga. Nanam Chindanti Shastrani, Nanam Dayati Pavaga, Nachanam Kledyanti Apo. So, yes, that's true. But then how soul get bound? Yes, soul get bound. Soul is very, very subtle. So when we say it is not touched by any of those things, these are all gross items. Soul is very, very subtle. Subtler than the subtle. So one is gross body, then mind, intelligence, and ego. That is subtle body, and soul is subtler. So in that context, we say that soul is not touched by any of those things. It is not affected by all of those things. But still, the soul is under the laws of this material nature. Soul has the power, the ability, thinking, feeling, and willing. So you can will something, you can feel something, you can think of something. So if soul has that power and you utilize that power, then you comes under the laws of material nature. So based on how you think, how you will, what you desire, and all of that, then you are still under the control of the material nature. So there are two things, that they're not touched by something which is external gross elements like the fire and all of that, but still it is under the clutches of the material nature. So that laws will apply on the soul. So if soul does something pious, then as a result, they'll get the good credits and good benefits. The soul is desiring something sinful activities, then as per the laws of nature, the soul has to go into some kind of suffering state, taking different kind of birth and some lower species and something like that, and the different forms of suffering happens. Yes. So yes, it is not touched by the gross elements, but still soul is under the clutches of the material laws. That is how we understand this. Okay. Next question. Who wants to go next? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask the question. Only few people are asking question, huh?
Prabhuji, may I ask, like this akarma, going to that same thing, say somebody donates or helps some blind organization or poor children or women somewhere in the country, how would that karma, how would you do that? I mean, I want to do that, for example, and what do I do? I mean, should I just donate it to the temple so they do it, or can I just go ahead and give it to some Gaushala in India? Would that be against my that karma thing?
Okay, yeah. So yes, actually all this doing charity, helping others is a good work that one should definitely do. But actually that falls under the category of pious karma. That is not a karma. Punya karma, that you are doing a good job, right? Unless it is in connection with Krishna, then it is still considered as the pious, the punya karma. So the punya karma means, again, you will have to get the punya phala. So then again, you have to get entangled into the, so yeah, that is, very, what do you say, the concept which we are not able to easily digest, but that is how the scriptures talks about. So yes, we should do the good work. So how do we do that? So we should figure out that simply just doing as a charitable work, if we can do it as Krishna's work. So sometimes, some temples are taking care of the Gaushala, so we can help. Or at least now you say no, but all the Gaushalas in the world, they're not taken care by some temples only. Some other organizations also, they do. But in that context, what we can say is that you think that Krishna loves the cows. Cows are very dear. Krishna talks about Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmanidaya. So yes, cow should be protected. So okay, let me just offer my prayers to Krishna. Say, Krishna, I want to just be an instrument in serving the Gaumata. So with that consciousness, you go and try to help. But at the same time, just make sure that it's the right organization, the right people. They should not misuse the money and all of that. You just take care like that. Some poor person you see, you want to give them some food instead of giving some money, which he can go and misutilize that money. He go and take some intoxication drug, or some drugs, some alcohol. So you give with a good heart, with a good intention to help that person. Poor guy, hungry, he'll eat some food, but he is going and drinking the alcohol. Mind you, unconsciously you're getting implicated into this cycle of sinful karma. It's very, very complex. That is why Krishna says, Karmana Gahano Gati. It is our duty when we do the charity also. It is our duty that where we give the charity. The Krishna talks about the charity in the 18th chapter in detail. Charity in the Satogun, charity in the Rajogun, charity in the Tamogun. And goodness, passion, ignorance. Like some people, like the politicians, during elections, they go into a village with a truck load of liquor bottles and they do the charity of liquor. Everyone comes and take free liquor. He's thinking, I'm doing a big charity. But that charity is like charity in the ignorance. He'll implicate more. He's not benefiting that person and nor those who are taking the charity. Then some people take the charity in like mode of passion. Oh, I do this, then people will recognize me, they will glorify me. Oh, sir, you are so wonderful. You have a big heart. So, so I'm doing the charity for name and fame. That is called the charity in the mode of passion. Then charity is in the mode of goodness. To the right person, to the right candidate, the right time for the right cause. So these are all, the things that we have to consider. And ultimately, it should be in connection with Krishna if we at all want to make it a karma like that. So yeah, otherwise it fall in the category of on this punyakam. Yeah. Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
So, Namaste Prabhuji. So, I have this question and not sure whether it's a valid question, but I'll still ask it. During our life, just when we are living our life and we are not knowing about the Supreme God, we live our life in a way unconsciously, not knowing what effect we have on others.
Right.
And we might have good effect or bad effect on others, but how do we make sure that nobody gets affected badly because of us, because of our life, and how to do the life in a akarma fashion?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So your question is, what I'm understanding is that how you make sure that you are not affecting or influencing people in a negative way or in a bad way. If not in a good way, of course it should be in a good way, but not in a bad way. And also not only just in a good way, but ultimately it should be in a karma way. Yeah, that's a good question. That is what is the Bhagavad Gita actually guides us, teaches us that how should we live our life. So, Bhagavad Gita actually, the scope of Bhagavad Gita is very expansive. It talks about all those concepts, about the life, about the relationship, the science and the sociology and everything Bhagavad Gita talks. So we learn that how we live in this world, right? So it says, it says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Astini Shuni Cheva Swapakeche Pandita Samadarshina. So it gives you the hint that how a person, a devotee of Krishna should be. So he says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, one who is equipped with the Vidya, with the right knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Then that devotee, that person is automatically Vinaya. Vinaya means very humble. He understands that, I should not become unnecessarily egoistic, number one. And that humility is manifested in terms of Suni Cheva, Swapakeche, Pandita Samadarshina. So Shuni means like a dog. Swapakeche, somebody is a third class person. And then some elephant or very scholarly person, some Brahmana. Everyone he sees equally. Pandita Samadarshina. So that is the real Pandit. Pandit means the knowledgeable person, not like as indication of a person who put some different, external looks externally different is not the Pandit. Pandit means the real knowledgeable person. He Samadarshina, he sees everyone equally. Now, how it is practically possible that you see everyone equally? You see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna, that Krishna is the Supreme Father, and all the living entities, not only just human beings, even the animals in the street, they are also the child of Krishna, children of Krishna. So that you can develop. And then you respect everyone equally. Now, respecting equally, you say, no, Prabhuji, I go and touch the feet of my parents every morning. Shall I go and touch the feet of a dog in the street? Because you are saying Samdarshina. So we should respect equally everyone. No, we should understand it. Equal respect means give the due respect. So what respect you give to your parents, that is due respect to them. What respect you give to your husband, that may be a little different. With your parents, you might be taking blessings like that. With your husband, you might be in some loving relationship. Of course, with parents also we are in loving relationship, but there is a difference in the relation. So you don't behave with everyone in the same way. So dog in the street, you don't go and touch and bow down to the dog, but you can give some food. That is respecting the dog. You are not kicking the dog. That is a respect to the dog. You are not throwing any stone on the dog, simply just like that. That is a respect. So this is the way that we learn Pandita Samadarshina. So we like that. There's many hints are given in the scriptures. So we get trained gradually. So that way, we make sure that we are not influencing others, we are not hurting others, we are not creating a bad influence in the society on others. Number one. And also, akarma is very simple. As I said, everything should be centered around Krishna. So if you learn that art, that has to be learned in the association of devotees, A, and by reading the books of transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and gradually we get trained, we develop that consciousness, or understanding or maturity goes beyond our perceptions, completely changes. So it's a gradual process. So yes, and that way we can be acting in this world, being in this world, but not of this world, not getting implicated into the karmic reaction by doing the karma, by not hitting others, not hurting others. And at the same time, we can be an instrument in Krishna's hands to help others, to get them connect to Krishna, and in help in whatever possible way we can help. Yeah, there are a few thoughts on this. Hope it.
I have one more question, if I
Yeah.
can ask you.
Yeah, please.
Like everything in the daily routine is happening in a certain flow, and some things are happening so quickly that there is no time to become conscious and pay attention to what you're doing. So how do we know whether we are the doer or is just happening? Everything is just happening.
Yes, so many things are happening, but then it is a duty that we should be conscious, because ultimately you should take the responsibility of your own life. We cannot say that something is happening and I don't know how it is happening. Then it means that we have been little irresponsible on what is happening in our life. So that is how we need to become more and more conscious, right? This is called the conscious living. So our life should not be random, just like that. Whatever happens, good or bad. I don't even have the time to reflect on what went good, what went bad. No, we have to learn to be the conscious beings, conscious, responsible citizens. Like when you're living in a family, you're a conscious being. In a society, you're a conscious being, and like that. So it's again the practice what is happening, why it is happening. Take out some time, reflect on few things, and why it happened. I didn't want this to happen, but it still happened. Why it happened? Make sure it was not a good thing. So make sure that it should not happen again. So when we talk about being Krishna conscious, then being Krishna conscious means that includes being self-conscious also. Self-consciousness means that you are conscious about yourself, the people around you, the surroundings, what is happening around me. And then you understand I'm part and parcel of Krishna. That is my real identity. What I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do, what are good things, what are the bad things. So everything, then gradually that consciousness start to build up. Then you start taking charge. You start taking the responsibility of what is happening in your life. So things should not it should not happen in a random way. Somebody came and somebody did something to you and you say, it's okay. That is also okay. This is also okay. No, we should think, we should reflect back, and we should ask the question, was it a good thing to do or it was a bad thing to do? Was it was useful either materially or spiritually, or I just get entangled into some kind of some useless talk and I spend some 2 hours because somebody wants to dump some useless stuff on me. So I was sitting there and he was talking and I was listening, all rubbish, all contaminated. He was just backbiting so many people, contaminating my consciousness. No, you should not allow somebody to come and dump their trash on you, right? So like that, we start to take the responsibilities gradually and then take the charge of your 24 hours, how you're utilizing your time, morning to evening, disciplined life. So Krishna talks about that. Yukta ahar viharasya, yukta chestasya karmashu, yukta sapnopabodasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Everything should be in a regulated fashion. Or ahar means your eating habits, your sleeping habits, your recreation, your work, everything should be disciplined. So when we learn this discipline from Bhagavad Gita, then what happens? There's no time for the random things to happen in your life. So sometimes when we are not disciplined, we don't know what is happening in life. Then something will happen in life, you are not conscious. So yeah, this is how we can practice to be more regulated, more disciplined. That is very, very important for any spiritual practitioner. Okay. That answers your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
other question. Quickly, any other question? there's no question. I'll read a question from the sheet. There are a few questions here. So I'm not sure that those who wrote these questions are there in the call or not. But let me just read. Somebody says, what if we have committed a sin in ignorance like abortion? Is it still considered a sin? Yes. So as I explained, the ignorance of law is no excuse. Right? Just because, oh, I don't know it is a sin, so I did that. Like you're driving in the road, you jump on the red light, and then the cops comes and they put the fine and they say, oh, no, I don't know what is red light. No, then that is ignorance. The ignorance of law is no excuse. You will still be fined for that. All right. So yes, a sin committed knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously. Yes, there might be little exemption if it is committed unconsciously out of ignorance, but you have to be fined. But if you know and still you do, and that is severe, that is considered severe. That is done intentionally. You knew already and you are trying to cross the red light. Why you're doing that? So then that is taken a very grievous sin. So yes, sin committed in either way, it's considered sin. Okay. Another question. And this question is, I do feel like everything. Okay, sorry. I do feel like invoking the Lord's name in everything I do. However, sometimes I find it difficult. For instance, if I am competing for a prize and I chant Krishna's name and then end up losing, should I feel guilty? I feel like I should not be the reason that the Lord is associated with defeat. Okay, nice question. So the question is that, and the person is saying that I want to invoke Krishna's presence in everything, but at the same time, sometimes there's a failure comes and then I don't want to feel that, oh, I chanted Krishna's name, still I am a failure. So then Krishna is a failure. No, Krishna is not a failure. We should understand the overall theory behind this. See, man proposes and God disposes. What God will dispose is what is due to you, what is there in your credit, in your karma, right? So Krishna is just a sanctioner. Krishna is not a loser. So sometimes you are chanting Krishna's name, not necessarily mean that you will derive the results just because you chanted Krishna's name. No, we should understand this, because generally that is the concept that people go to God, go to Krishna. For what they go? Give me this, give me that, and all the long list. That is the concept of going to God. We should understand that God is not only for, he's not our order carrier, that you go and ask everything and he'll provide all your supplies. Not necessarily. There is other things that we should understand to worship the God. So yes, if you are defeated also, so it's not Krishna's defeat, something like that. But it is a good conscience that in all circumstances, tasma sarveju kaleju mam anusmara yuddhaja. That in all circumstances, you want to remember Krishna. That is a very good thought. So we should continue to do that. So either it will be success or failure. It is all Krishna's sanction. So Krishna wants you to be successful. He will definitely make you successful. But if Krishna wants you to learn something better, or maybe he might have planned something better for you. Sometimes Krishna try to put you down. So why he want to put you down? Because when you go down and then you can pick something better. So yes, Krishna does that. Even the devotees, they get fail in so many things. They meet the failures in so many ways. Right. So it means Krishna has some higher plan. That is how we should understand. So it's not Krishna's defeat, nor it is your defeat. Don't think that it's a defeat just because you couldn't get what you desired. Our life is not determined by just one achievement. So many things happens in life. Success, failure is a temporary phase of life. Sitoshna, sukha dukkada, agam apayino. It's like a summer and winter season. It will come and go. So one should not be too much bothered about, oh, I worked hard. I was just working for promotion and sleepless night I spent. Still, I didn't clear the interview. I'm so depressed. No, don't be depressed. It's okay. It didn't happen. Try next time better. Learn something from your mistakes. And then have faith in Krishna that probably Krishna has something better for you to give. Wait for the right time. Right. So if you remember, I told in the last session that we see our present, we plan our future. Krishna sees our future and he plan our present. So Krishna sees your future even brighter what you are desiring, that is not enough for you, and to give you something better. So wait for the right time. Don't be disheartened like that. So don't consider anything, as a failure. Nothing is failure. Life is all about the learning. Life is all about uh, the experiences and becoming more and more mature. How we become mature? By doing the mistake, by so-called failures, we learn the lesson. So yeah, it's a journey of learning. That is how it is. Okay. Any other question? If somebody has put in the chat, in the meantime, I'll just read from the sheet. Last question. And
Hare
then
Krishna Prabhuji, can I ask one more question?
who is saying
Shamna.
yes?
Yeah, so actually in the Bhagavatam, there is a story about Ajamila, right? Wherein he was like calling his son's name, just like he
Narayana.
was actually, yeah, Narayana. Just by calling, he was not like intending to call God's name, but still, just because he called Narayana, he got the moksha. So, so is it like really like once we really feel like once we really understand and start calling God, so is there anything like we'll be like getting moksha in that way also, like even
Yes.
like
So that is the glories of the holy name, the power of Krishna's name, God's name.
yeah.
That even if it is chanted unconsciously, not even intending to call out the Lord's name, and then one can get the liberation. That is the glories. That is the power and the potency of Lord's name. Now you can imagine that how much more benefit one can derive by chanting God's name consciously. Yes, so that happens. But as it is explained further in the scripture, that God's name should be chanted very purely. So now you say, Prabhuji, we are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, we do one mala, and on this 8:30 call, a lot of people join every evening. Those who are not joining, you can also please try to join. 8:30 to 8:45 every day, we all connect here and try to join. So you say, oh no, Prabhuji, we are chanting every day one round and we are calling actually Krishna only. But why we are not getting liberated? Yes. So the point is the one name of Krishna which is chanted very purely. So what we are doing is now we are chanting. It may not be pure, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have any benefit. It has the benefit. And with that chanting only, we become more and more pure and purer and purer. So that is the abhyas. And one day when we'll become completely pure in our heart, in our consciousness, and with that pure heart, with a pure consciousness, when you call out Krishna's name, then Krishna can deliver us from all this bondage. So yes, that is the glory of chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That's the power.
Yeah, so actually my question was, so what about all his karmas, what he had done
Everything. So one of the words comes in the scriptures which explains the glories of the holy name. It says Krishna's one name, mind you, one name of Krishna can wipe out the amount of sin that one cannot commit in their whole life. That is the power of Krishna's one name. Just one name of pure chanting of Krishna's one name can wipe out the amount of sin which we cannot even commit. We are not even capable of committing that much of sin. And Krishna's one name can wipe out, but it should be chanted purely. This is the condition. So this Narayana, this Ajamila, he chanted actually because he came out from his heart. He was in that kind of a situation.
Okay.
So yes, one day we also should aspire that we can develop some love, some affection for the Lord, that we can call out, Krishna, please help me. I'm in a helpless situation in this world. I'm stuck here. So will that love and affection one day. So that is what the practice with this knowledge we chant every day. That is what we practice every day. Gradually we train our consciousness.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let me.
Prabhuji, is the name is Krishna, or Krishna? I read. I confused because I read like my son name is also Krishna.
Okay.
But I hear that Krishna is the real name, and then
okay, let me tell you one thing. That Krishna is not like a Hitler. Krishna is also known as Bhavgrahi Janardana. Bhavgrahi means he takes your bhav, your emotions, your feeling, your devotion. Krishna is more interested in your intention than what is the content you are offering. So somebody say offering the varieties of food, but there's no devotion. Krishna is not happy. But if somebody with a lot of devotion, if one is chanting Krishna's name, some rice, dry chapati, Krishna will happily eat that. So Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He takes your bhav. Okay, here is a devotee, very sincerely, very committedly, every day, without fail, chanting my name. May what come in their life, but they don't miss remembering me. I'm so pleased with their love and their affection, with their devotion. Krishna is happy. So then Krishna doesn't care about you are saying Krishna, Krishna, Kisna, or something. He is Bhavagrahi Janardana. So he understands your emotion. He's sitting in your heart. He understands. Krishna is not confused. Oh no, you did not say my name, Krishna. So I was thinking maybe you're calling out somebody's name. No, we should understand. Krishna is all knowing. He understands. Now, different people have a different accent. Like if you go in India, you go to Bengal. So in their accent, everything they call like O. So they don't say that Krishna. They'll say Krishna, Krishna. Like their accent is like that. Oh, everything they say like that. Krishna. Now somebody say who's American. For them, it might be like a tongue twister saying Krishna's name. They can't even chant properly. So there's something, Krishna, Krishna, something. Krishna understand. So don't go by all that. Oh, how Krishna will understand. But yeah, so the right name is Krishna. Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah,
Okay.
Krishna. So we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Like that we chant. So sometimes when you hear, you'll say, oh no, Prabhuji, but the devotee was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Prabhuji, it was Krishna, he was chanting, not Krishna. Again, don't get too technical about all those things. Krishna will understand everything.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay, any last question? Anyone?
Prabhuji, I had one question. Like, karma is from this point onwards in life, not to create any pious karma or sins.
Yes.
But for the past births that we brought here to
that's
burn that off.
Yeah, I explained actually in my sessions, and as just now also I explained, Krishna's one name is powerful enough to wipe out all your karmic reactions for many, many lifetimes. That's the power of this chanting of Krishna's name. So the best way to do the karma is chant Krishna's name, which will further, relieve you from all kinds of bondage. And in the past, whatever we have done, that also you will be freed up gradually. Depends on the intensity of the purity of your chanting. So if you can chant one name of Krishna completely pure-heartedly, then today only you are free from all the reactions. But since we are not on that level of, chanting purely, we have a lot of, our mental material desires and so many other bondage in this world, so many other aspirations. So gradually it will become pure, but still it will have the effect to wipe out your previous karmic reactions. So Krishna, that is why Krishna is saying, no, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarpapebhyo Mokshishami. I'll deliver you from all your sinful actions. Do not worry, surrender to me. Why Krishna is saying? Krishna is saying, yes, you do that. And just this is 18.66 from Bhagavad Gita. Just before that, 18.65, Krishna says, Man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Please take the note of these two verses, 18.65 and 18.66. These two verses you will learn the entire Bhagavad Gita and practice it. So Krishna says, Man mana, always think of me, always remember me. So how to think? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we do that, and then Man mana bhavamad bhakto, become my devotee. Mam namaskuru. Krishna says, please offer your obeisances. Then I'll take care of everything. Don't worry. I'll free you from Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Surrender unto me, follow my instructions, and then everything will be taken care. So yes, that is the assurance, and that is the power of Bhagavad Gita.
I have one more question.
Yes.
There are so many different forms of the God. So like there is Ganesh ji, there is Lakshmi ji, there is Saraswati ji, there is all different gods, and there is Krishna ji. And is there some, are we doing something wrong if we I have been following some other god
god.
in the life,
Yeah.
or has it to be that Krishna is a form of every god, or every god has the one form? I really don't understand this.
Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure if you attended all our 6 sessions. If not, you can go back and check the recordings. Go and check the session 4, release and on trial, where we discussed in detail why there's so many different gods. Not only few, 330 million gods in Hindu Dharma. There's 33 crore devata. So which one to follow? Why only Krishna? Why not others and all of that? So we discuss that, and from Bhagavad Gita we can discuss more in the future. But the understanding is it's just like that. Just to give you the quick understanding on this. In a cabinet, in a parliament, there is the prime minister or chief minister, and there's so many other ministers. So we don't say that all the ministers are useless. They're not powerful. Yes, everybody is powerful, but their power is limited. Ultimately, it has to be the prime minister who is the supremely powerful. So Krishna is that supreme lord, and it is not my opinion. It is not my belief system. I quoted many references in that session, and then I can quote even further. But just in the interest of time, I'm telling here. So the conclusion of all the scripture, Ishwara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the Param Ishwar. And then there's so many other Ishwar, 330 million demigods. Now, coming back to your question, is it wrong to worship other demigods? No, it is not at all wrong. But worship them in the right understanding, in the right, like, if you go and you meet a minister who is an education minister, you say, oh, sir, you are the prime minister. I treat you like a prime minister. That minister, if a little sensible person, is what kind of a ignorant person he is. He doesn't even know that who am I. He's saying me prime minister. I'm actually education minister. I'm not the prime minister. So that is what exactly the demigods has a role play, and it has been explained in the 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita 7.20 to 23. You can read, and then you can come up with all your questions, and we can ask more questions. But just to give you the understanding, all the demigods, they are actually all the devatas, 330 million devatas. They're all the devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So yes, if you are worshipping all the demigods like Ganeshji or so many other names, ultimately it is all like you are paying the tax to the state government. Ultimately, it will go to the central, or you can directly, either you can go and directly talk to the prime minister if you have the access, or otherwise you go and talk to some ministers, and gradually those ministers will connect you to the prime minister. But here is the prime minister coming and say, directly surrender unto me, sir dharman paritaja, mam ekam sharanam braja. Krishna is saying, ekam, only unto me, mam ekam, no other deviation. So sometimes people ask, oh, Krishna sounds like very egoistic person, saying only me, not others. No, that is why, like a mother, the child is, scared and fearful and so many problems. Mother comes and, embrace the child and say, my dear boy, my dear son, my dear, daughter, please come and just, be with me. I'll take care of everything. Don't worry. Forget about everything. Your friends and your neighbors and all that. Because the child is in a trauma. And he says, don't worry, just surrender to me. Just be with me. No problem. I'll take care of everything. Just to comfort you. So Krishna is that loving father, that loving mother. Says, surrender unto me, forget about all other worldly things. And that is the understanding. So yes, if you're not seen, you're not attended, please go back. I'll post that the link of the entire playlist. So in the 4th session, you can go and check out, and hopefully that will clarify even more all of those things. Okay, Vidyaji, hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so there's another question here. I see chanting versus meditation. Are the same or different? Yes. So chanting is recommended, and it is called the mantra meditation. Right? This meditation is a very, very popular term in the modern age. Everybody is so fascinated about meditation, and everybody has their own idea of meditation. But what is the meditation which is recommended in this modern age of Kali Yuga? We have to understand from the scriptures that meditation is Krataya Dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam Yajatomagai Dwapare Paricharyayam Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanam. In Satyuga, people used to go and do a lot of, austerity in the forest. They'll stand on one leg, they'll not eat for many years like that. Krataya Dhyayato Vishnu, and they'll meditate on Vishnu form. Tretayam Yajatomagai. Then Treta Yuga, when Lord Ramchandra was here, the Yagya, they will do the fires, Ashmega Yagya, Rajasuya yagya like that we can't do in the modern age Kali Yuga. Then Dwapare Paricharyayam. In the Dwapar Yuga when Krishna came, then the process was Paricharya, worship with pomp, lot of rules, regulations. That is also not possible for people in Kali Yuga. Then Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanan in the Kali Yuga, in this modern age, chanting the holy name of the Lord is the recommended process. So yes, this chanting is the meditation. People think meditation means some silent meditation, looking at some light, looking at some point. No. Meditation means meditate on the Supreme Lord. Om Dad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surya Dhyana Avastita Gadena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina. So this is all explained in the scriptures. The problem is people don't read the scriptures. And then so-called bogus guru nowadays, they say that we don't also follow the scriptures, we'll create our own ideas of meditation. And the whole innocent mass is misled. It's very unfortunate situation in Kali Yuga, but it is bound to happen. This is the age of degradation, spiritually speaking. Materially, we are advancing a lot, but spiritually, people are getting degraded. So from the scriptures, we understand, yes, meditate on what? On whom? Meditate on the Supreme Lord, on His holy name by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Iti Shodashakanamanam, Kali Kalmashanashanam, Nato Partarupaya, Sarvedeshu Drishyate. This chanting of the 16 names, Shodashakanamanam, it's very specifically it is mentioned. Kali Kalmashanashanam in the Kali Yuga, this is the recommended process, this mantra of 16 words, Shodashakanamanam. There's another mantra which is called the Dwadash mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But that is not recommended for Kali Yuga. That was for Sati Yuga. Kali Yuga, Kali Kalmash Nashanam, Nato Partara Upaya, there is no other Upaya. There is no other way. Sarvedeshu Drishyate. That is the conclusion of all the scriptures. So like that we take the knowledge from the scriptures, from the Guru Sadhu Shastra, from the bona fide Guru, not some bogus Gurus. And then we understand that. Can yogis or superior souls set the date and time for their death? And how is that possible? Yes, it is possible. It has been explained in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that, they can choose the time to leave the body. But that is a very, very complex process and it is not recommended in Kali Yuga. It is not possible also. It is not a process for the common mass. For the common mass, the process is this 8.5 and 8.6. Please take the note. Who's asking this question? Vamsiji. For your reference, I'm giving you the verse number 8.5, 8.6. Krishna says, Antakale cha mameva smrana muktava kalevaram ya priyati samadbhavam. I explained also in one of our sessions that at the time of death, if somebody remembers me, he comes back to me. That is the process. So you don't care about this time, that date, this tithi, that tithi, Amavasya, Purnima, Dakshinayana, Uttarayana. No, nothing. That is not the process for us. Process of Bhagavad Gita is Antakale cha mameva smaran. At the time of death, if you remember me. That is the process. Then you don't care about what time, which place, where, in what circumstances. You just remember Krishna and leave the body. And then Krishna says, come back to me. That is the end of your cycle of repeated birth and death. So we should work on that instead of unnecessary, taking...
The reason why I asked that question is essentially like, I happened to watch a YouTube video where a Buddhist monk was just he just walked up and he just slept on the laid on the floor,
yes.
And then he just left. So I was wondering that and then in a matter of time he just left his body.
Yeah, so that is what I'm saying. Those kind of eyesight, that it is explained in the process are explained. It is not something that it is it doesn't exist. It is there. The Bhagavad Gita is explained, but it is very, very complex process. And it is not for a common person, common man. We can't do all of that. And then also, if it is not done in an authorized way and right way, we don't know that where the soul will go. But Krishna gives the guarantee. Antakalesha mameva smaran. If we do that smaran at the time of death, then we'll definitely go back to Krishna. So that guarantee is given.
And one question.
Yes.
So is Shiva also a demigod?
Shiva is not a demigod. Yeah, that's a good question. Though there is a Shiv Tattva. So there are different kind of tattvas has been explained. It's a little technical, but one is called the Vishnu Tattva. So Vishnu Tattva means we call Vishnu, Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Krishna. Now there are all like Vishnu Tattva. There's one person but in different forms. Then there is a Jeev Tattva. Jeev Tattva means all of us living entities. We are Jeev Tattva. And then there is in between Jeev Tattva and actually the demigods also, for your information. All the Devatas, they are actually Jeev Tattva. They are Jivas, the living entity of this world. But they are powerful, empowered living entities. You can become the demigod if you have that pious credits. But Shiva is not a demigod. Shiva is itself, in itself is a Tattva. Shiv Tattva. He is in between the Vishnu and the living entity. So Vishnu is here, living entities are here. Shiva is in between. So the Lord Shiva's position has been explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vaishnava Nam Yatha Sambhu. He says among the Vaishnavas. Vaishnava means one who is a devotee of Vishnu, one who is a devotee of Krishna. They're called the Vaishnavas. We have Sri Vaishnavas and Gaudiya Sampradaya, like that, different Vaishnava Sampradayas are there. So Vaishnava means Krishna or Vishnu's devotees. So it has been explained in the Bhagavatam. I'll give you the reference also. That Vaishnava Nam Yatha Sambhu, among the Vaishnava, the topmost devotee of Supreme Lord Krishna or Vishnu is Lord Shiva. That is how you see the Lord Shiva is always sitting in meditation. Whom is meditating? He is not meditating on some light or some point. He is meditating on the Supreme Lord. So yes, Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee. Anybody who go to Lord Shiva, worship him and receives his blessings, then by Lord Shiva's blessings, one will reach to the Supreme Lord. Like somebody goes and worship the Hanumanji. Right? What will happen? If Hanumanji is pleased with your worship, what will happen? Hanumanji will bless you from his heart. That okay,
Rama.
you go to Lord Ramchandra because he is the Supreme Lord. So
Yeah.
that is how somebody asking, right? Vidyaji, you are asking that, is it wrong to worship the demigod? No, it is not wrong, but worship them in the right understanding. Somebody says, Hanumanji, you are the Supreme Lord. Hanumanji says, you foolish guy, you don't know what is my position. I am saying I am Ram Bhakt Hanuman. I am the devotee of the Lord, and you are telling me the Lord? I am not happy. But you say, Ram Bhakt Hanuman, that is how we sing, right? Hanuman Chalis and all that. Ram Duare, Tumar Akhware. He is very dear to Lord Ramchandra. Then Hanumanji is very pleased. He says, you are recognizing me as the devotee of the Lord. So I'm pleased. I'll bless you. So you also get the devotion of the Lord, like that. And same is the position like Lord Shiva. Yeah.
And I have one more question.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are two. So I mean, like you have explained very well that everything has to come from Shastra. I agree to that, but the conflict in my mind is a human experience. The Shastras or anything, right? Like you will have, like there is a book, but like your experience also can tell that if that is correct or wrong, right? It will determine. I mean, I heard that, like for example in yoga, right, they say you are having 7 chakras: Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anahata, Agna, Vishuddhi, and Sahasrara, right? So from Ramakrishna Parahamsa, Sri Ramana Maharshi, like whatever the stories that I heard is like you raise your energies to that peak where you reach like Agna or Sahasrara. That is when you reach this enlightenment state, and like there are different yoga practices where you raise your energies to that pitch and all. So I don't know, I mean, like there are different parts which like I'm hearing, and chanting is one of them which I heard. So what are your opinion and thoughts on this?
Yeah, there's so many different paths, but again, as I quoted that verse, right? Krate Adhyayata Vishnum Tretayam Jat. So in the earlier ages, people will go meditate and do all these strict yoga practices and all that. Yes, they're all authorized paths, but it is not recommended for this modern age. That's the exact point we need to understand very carefully. What is recommended process? It's like, let me give you this example. See, when the First World War happened, right? And then how they fought? They fought probably with some swords and all of those kind of hand weapon like that. Literally, you're going and fighting. And they fought the whole world war. Now say today, for example, just to understand, you pray that it should not happen. Say Third World War happens today, and then one country goes with the swords and all that. Can they fight and they win over? It
No way.
not work now. It worked in one time. It worked well, and somebody won over the battle. But today, if they go and fight with a sword, because it is according to time, place, and circumstances, different processes are recommended. So in the Kali Yuga, the recommended process is Kali Kale Nam Rupa Krishna Avadar. In the Kali Yuga, the process is Nam, chanting the holy name. Now you say, what about all those so many organizations, so many yoga processes? Yes, they are good for at till one level. They will make you maybe a little more regulated. You might feel little, what do you say, more peaceful, more calm and something. But that is not the goal of spiritual life. Please understand. These are all misconceptions. People think why we should practice spiritual life so that we feel little cool, calm. That is just a byproduct of spiritual life. That is not the main product. Just because you're feeling peace is, oh, this is what it is. No, it's a byproduct. The real product is something else. Real product is developing the attraction and the love for the Supreme Lord. So all these yoga practices, some exercise, some breathing exercise, sitting in some meditation, meditating on your breath and all these kind of different things, it may help at one level. And that is not the real product that you're going to get out of a spiritual life, which the spiritual life is supposed to give you. So that is how people are misled. So we had to understand what is the right purpose of practicing all of this and then figure out about that. So yes, all these yoga practices, everything is there. And your question anyway, now coming back to your question originally, that human experience, where is the room or where is the scope for the human experience? Yes. So let me tell you one verse from, the scriptures. It talks about, I don't remember the Sanskrit term, but actually this verse explains there are 4 defects that all the human beings, we all have. And we discussed in one of the session also. What are the 4 defects that anyone in this material world, all of us, conditioned soul, they commit mistakes, they're prone to be illusioned, they have the cheating propensity, and they have the defective perception, imperfect senses. So these are the 4 defects. Now with these 4 defects, if you try to experience something, your experience also would be for sure, it will be defective. So that is why when we say read from the scriptures, because scripture, the knowledge of scriptures is called as aparusheya. This knowledge is not given by some purush, some person of this world. This is coming from the Supreme Lord, and that is the absolute knowledge. This is called Param Satyam Dhimahi. This is Param Satya. Param Satya means in all circumstances, it will stand truth. There is something called the relative Satya. And what we talk about our experience, they are all relative truth. What is the relative truth? Say 50 years back, somebody said, oh no, drinking alcohol is not acceptable in our society. It is such a grievous sin, very bad. Somebody comes in the house drinking, is oh, look at this person, third class person. And that was the truth. Yes, it is a sinful person and a sinful activity, not accepted. Today, drinking is cool. See, the truth has changed. What is Param Sat? Just to give the example, Prabhupada gives, sun rises in the east. This is kind of Param Sat, right? Do you have any trace of in the history that, oh no, at one point in time, the sun actually, came from the north? It will never happen. That is Param Sat. So the scriptures are like the Param Sat. They will never, no time, either it is today, modern age, or some previous age, or in the future age, they will be the truth. So we take the knowledge as it is from the Parampara. That is the power. So this is the modern man's disease. That they think, oh no, we should, why? People, that they think that it's cool to speculate something. They say, oh, you are not intelligent enough or what? Why you want to depend on these books? You should use your intelligence. You should think yourself how to apply this. No, with all your defects, 4 defects, your understanding, your experience will be also defective. So we take the knowledge as it is from the scriptures, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. They say, do this, then you do that and you see the real. And then you experience. So your experience also be validated by the scriptures. So Krishna says, you chant my name and this is what you will experience. So you chant and then you experience that and you validate, oh yeah, this is what is happening. Actually, that is what the scripture is saying. So you're not creating your own experience unnecessarily. The experiences will be there. It's not like that you don't have any experience. The experience of bliss, experience of peace of mind, and experience of elevation of consciousness, everything will be there. But it will be validated by the scripture. That's the point. So it's not concocted experience. That's the point.
Got it. And before you end, one last question on the Guru. So there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is Prabhupadananda, like that. But right now, during my course of life, probably like I was born in 1985, and then I will live for a few years on this planet Earth. So during our times, right, So how can are we not lucky to have a live guru? The lineage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, like they are not alive with us right now, right? So that in that sense, I'm asking.
Yeah, that's a good question actually. The living guru. It's a very technical concept, but it's a very, very important concept to understand. People think that guru must be a living guru. But you remember the story I was telling in the one of the session that somebody touched the taxi driver and he got scared because he was driving 20 years he was driving the car which he was carrying the dead body, and then he was scared somebody touched. So that is story again. So sometime these concepts I'll tell you might be taken or little shocked. Oh, what you're talking. But the scriptures talks about the living guru is not more important than the two concepts, the Vani and the Vapu. Vapu means the physical presence of the guru, and another thing is the Vani. Vani means the instruction of the guru. Now we logically also you can understand. If you little sensibly we try to think that Vani is more important than the presence of the guru. Simply guru is sitting as a person and you don't follow the instruction of that guru. What is the use of that physical presence or live guru? Then that physical guru is not there, like say they disappeared from this world physically, but their instruction you're living, that will bring more transformation in your life. So this concept of this living guru is
No,
not.
I mean, the reason is when I heard stories from people that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is alive, when he just walks on the street, like chanting the name of Krishna, that entire street, they just go crazy on Krishna. It's called Tanmayatvam or something like in Telugu. I don't know how to call that in English, but.
Right. Yes. So yes, their physical presence definitely have a power, a aura, which is there. If we have the access to those kind of bona fide teachers now, great. If we don't have, then we should not think that we are bereft of that opportunity. We are still fortunate to have their instruction, their Vani, through all these books, their conversation, their recordings, and all of that. And that is how we try to take the advantage of all of those things. And still you can equally, you can, with the same intensity, you can progress in a spiritual life by taking the advantage of their teachings. So yeah. But important thing is it should be a bona fide guru, not so-called famous guru of the world and something like that. So we will talk about that. What is this bona fide guru? I remember somebody asked also. I think you only asked in one of the sessions.
That's me only, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we'll talk, I think, keeping the time limit. Yeah. So I think we'll close with this today. And I think what we should do is continue to do this, putting your questions in the group and all of that so that we can have more clarification. It will be nice. I'll be more than happy to help you all here, share this wisdom, what I have been learning and practicing here. I take it as my pleasure. It is my seva to Krishna, Prabhupada, share this knowledge. Also, now we are starting like tomorrow on this Kartik month is starting. So we're starting another series of 8 sessions, which I'll be posting in the group now. So it is starting from tomorrow on, 6 o'clock in the evening, this Gita live program. Every Saturday, 6 o'clock in the evening, you can join on the Zoom or in person. It will be some Leela, some pastimes from Bhagavatam, and we try to learn some life lessons from them, which will help us to develop the right perspective of so many situations that we encounter here in this world. Okay, so I'll post those details in the group. And also, anybody who has some questions, put in the group either, or you can personally send me the message if you don't want to clutter too much into the group. Okay, but it was wonderful talking to you all, and nice questions, very thoughtful, and we'll continue to talk more. So as I said, ABCD, please remember ABCD, practice, association, chanting. So I see that many of you are already started joining my this 8:30 call every evening we do. So please join those who are not started joining, take the advantage of this. Just 15 minutes of investment, and it will be wonderful, progression in our spiritual path. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.